Hello there, Jared the Dark Jedi here. As all of you are aware, the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild are both on strike. And after some consideration, it has been determined that review content, like what is mostly predominantly makes up a lot of what we produce, is still going to be not considered crossing the picket line. It is still encouraged by the Screen Actors Guild, who established new terms additional to what was being asked to be complied with the WGA. What we do here, the conversations we love to have with a bunch of our friends, to have with you guys, is not possible. The stories we love to talk about, the stories that we love, do not get made without the blood, sweat, tears, creativity, and brilliance of the writers and actors. And currently, the studios who produce the things we love are working these writers and actors to death, not compensating them appropriately, and are trying to replace them with AI. I would think it goes without saying that the Nerd Academy podcast stands staunchly with the Screen Actors Guild and the Writers Guild, and we'll be supporting them from here until the end of these strikes in whatever way that we can. There will be links in each episode description so that you are able to see how you can help, where you can help, how you can donate to different funds to keep food in the belly and roofs over the heads of the writers and actors who are trying to make historic change in Hollywood as we speak. This review, this discussion, this news roundup, whatever the episode may be, was recorded during these strikes, and our love for the works of these writers, of these actors, will continue to be praised and discussed while they fight for their rights. And I want to implore everybody watching and listening to aid in whatever way they can. We stand in solidarity, and we ask that you do too. So, without any further ado, here's the show.
Hello, my friends. It is Hondo, and welcome back to the Knights of the Nerd Republic. You know what to do, and stay profitable.
The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things about the galaxy far, far away. Hello. Sorry, this episode is a little later than I would have liked. I've been trying to do these Ahsoka reviews dropping on Fridays. We recorded this late on a Thursday. I was incredibly tired. I did not have it in me to film an intro and outro and edit the show together. And I ran out of time Friday as well. Very tired. This intro outro is being recorded at 3 a.m. on Sunday, the day this episode will be releasing. So apologies for that. I'm coming off of a very long work day. Put in a 15-hour shift, so I am feeling it, Mr. Krabs. But we have a wonderful conversation for you guys about this most recent episode of Ahsoka. We are joined by Trey Mitchell and Bill Sheehy of Skywalking Through the League, the host of Mile High Cinema, a show that another podcast I hold the record for most guest spots on. Another little feather in my cap. No, just kidding. I like to talk to my friends about movies and stuff. But no, this is a wonderful conversation. I'm very excited to get into it. Talk about the Anakin Skywalker elephant in the room. Talk about some wild lightsaber combat choreography. Spencer and I get our versus series on a little bit, and I'm excited for you guys to hear the episode. But before we do that, a word from our sponsors. It's Sunday's Bloody Mary. You guys know the drill. SundaysBloodyMary.com has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the galaxy, with their 3-time award-winning spicy mix, as well as their mild and traditional mixes if the spice isn't for you. And if you want to get your freak on and garnish that bad boy, you can use their also award-winning pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus, and salt that rim if you really want to get nasty with it. If you guys want to get hip to the best Bloody Mary mix in the game, go to sundaysbloodymary.com/shop. Use code TNAP, TNAP at checkout. If that doesn't work, we're going to have an affiliate link set up soon. I promise, because I know they're switching over to an affiliate link system here soon. So check that out. Support them. And yeah, without any further ado, here is our conversation with Trey and Bill about episode 4, Fallen Jedi.
Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty, its incredible detail. Tuning into it, they want to shatter your mind. Talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil.
I originally harvested that clip for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, but it feels right here too. Hey guys, it's the Fallen Jedi review. Future me already did all the intro Sunday's Bloody Mary stuff, so we're just able to jump in. So obviously, I'm here, Jared the Dark Jedi, and we got Case and Syndulla up in this.
Remember like a month ago when I sent you a Snapchat from Ollie's Bargain Outlet, not a sponsor, of a $3 pack of 32 BB-8 hats?
Yes.
I spent $3 on 32 BB-8 hats.
Is this one of 32 BB-8 hats?
This is one of 32 BB-8 hats. And I forgot like the last 3 times that we've done shows to wear it. But here we are now, baby.
Well, speaking of hats, Spencer's here looking like Errol Flynn, but he also looks like a Milady type guy right now with the way he was sitting there. How you doing, buddy?
Spencer, you're muted.
You're muted. Your gentlemanly charm with your little hat shut you off.
Oh, it's the doggone blue Yeti button. Yes, it is true, folks. I am looking like Errol Flynn today. It was not planned when I woke up this morning.
Here, show off the beard. Show off the beard. Show off the part on the beard.
This is my Errol Flynn get up here with the yes. It's quite nice. Yes, I got this hat in Germany, to be sure, but it is a very Robin Hood looking hat. But
it is.
Yeah, and I want to just reiterate, I had not planned this when I woke up this morning. But my sister's wedding is like in a week and a half, and I had just a completely unkept facial thing going on. And so I thought, let's just whittle it down until it's a nice clean shave. So here we are as Errol Flynn today. And I got to say, I'm feeling completely outclassed in the hat game today by our man, Case and Syndulla.
You don't have one of 32 plastic BB-8 hats?
That's why I bought all 32.
Certainly not one of 32, Kaysen. I gotta say though, Kaysen, I would not say no to one of 33 BB-8 hats if it made its way to me. However,
you shall both have one.
For now, I'm sporting a genuine Tyrolean cap, and we've got a distinguished guest in the green room that goes brilliantly with my green hat.
Yes, I was to say, speaking of the genuine article, we have one half of Skywalking Through the League. The other half will be here soon. And the host of Mile High Cinema, we have Mr. Trey Mitchell back on the pod.
What's up, guys? So I know you can see Jared's cookie cup. Mine is right over here, too, lurking in the background.
I see it. So it's so small.
We have 2 cookie cups on screen. Happy to be here. Very excited to talk Ahsoka. Really enjoying the show so far. So, yeah, thanks for inviting me on, and hopefully we can get Bayou Bill on soon. I don't know if he's in the green room too, or if he's still.
Bayou Billy's not here yet, but when he gets here, you'll know. Waiting on Bayou Bill. Shit, goddamn fuck. Yeah, no.
That was my review of this week's show. By the way, I don't know if you saw my tweet, Jared. It was shit, goddamn fuck.
It was that is the best description for everything that happened.
Honestly,
you can split the episode into 3 acts. Shit, goddamn fuck. Very cleanly. No, this was a remarkable episode. What I'm excited by, what stunned me, is in a little bit of pre-show banter. Spencer turns out does not have a whole lot of strong opinions, which baffles me. I know you're here to get sweaty with me when it comes to the lightsaber combat stuff.
Jared gets the award for putting a bro on the spot. I will give him that. I told him that I could probably sum up all my opinions on this episode in 30 seconds. So on the clock, here we go. We're going to time it with exactly 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Hewing is awesome and exactly what he was in the Clone Wars. Balin is a pretty cool guy to watch fight. And all the action with Thrawn, it's cool to see some Sabine character development there with her struggling between what is technically right and what she feels she needs to do. And so I'm definitely here for it. But yeah, that's pretty much my 30 seconds up. That in 30 seconds, that's how I feel about the whole thing. And I've always got some thoughts here and bouncing off smarter people than me in the room here. But yeah, that's it. In 30 seconds, that's pretty much it. That's what I got.
Well, I'm excited to dig into this episode. I think that, just kind of starting, before we do that, Trey, how are you feeling? Aside the shit and fuck aside, how are you feeling this week?
Dude, I have the energy of how many people live in this country? 600 million Americans, because today is the start of the NFL. So I am back. I have the bald ego flowing through my veins, just ready to go to Tom's
draft king.
Watch Bar, right? That's what it's
called. Tom's Watch Bar. Yeah, there you go.
Tom's Watch Bar to go meet, all sorts of Pittsburgh people. I'm excited. I wish I was going to watch that this Sunday. That'd be cool. But no, I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk about this. I've been enjoying this show. I am someone who Rebels is my favorite thing in Star Wars. I'm a big Star Wars fan, like everyone else here. I'd say Rebels and The Last Jedi are kind of my things in Star Wars that I gravitate to the most. And I remember where I was when this show ended. I remember the epilogue of Rebels. And so to finally get this 5 years later, to get this continuation, because this really is a lot of basically Rebels season 5 in live action. It's just really cool. And I'm excited to talk about it. And yeah, I'll also be going to one of the theater things next week.
Yeah,
Disney's showing episode 5 in 10 theaters in America. One is in Chicago where I live. So I'm excited to go to that. Hopefully people aren't annoying, loud and stuff, but that should be cool. But yeah, this was awesome. I'm excited to talk with you all about it. And yeah.
Well, how are you feeling coming off of this episode? Because this was, and y'all, listen, I'm putting Anakin in the thumbnail. If you clicked on this, you knew there were spoilers.
This clickbait. That's clickbait.
Let me
I'm gonna call you on it.
Let me full screen you, Trey. Let me see the shirt. Oh hell yeah!
Always be.
That's a great shirt. That's a great
the
shirt.
Bigger person. Thank you. From box lunch.
But I gotta call Jared on the clickbait.
You calling me on the clickbait?
Oh, he's gonna have a circle around Anakin's head with an arrow. It's who is this?
Clickbait.
Yeah. I know.
Reasons why he is so important.
Reasons why he's actually Obi-Wan.
So first off, Star Wars Explained, when he did his Easter egg video, he made a very funny joke. He's like, where he's going through, and at the very end he goes, "That guy who shows up at the end in the World Between Worlds is Anakin Skywalker." And you knew that. And it's basically how we did it. But no, new rock stars, and I enjoy new rock
That
stars.
That was a
Same.
bad thumbnail.
I
think I know what you're talking about.
One.
Yeah.
So I like new rock stars. No hate to EA Voss. No hate to anybody who works over there. I like their comic book stuff. They're on the list of people who I cannot watch cover Star Wars. No disrespect, it's just I don't jive with how they discuss Star Wars. And I've never been more turned off by a thumbnail in my life than when they had that shot of Anakin in the thumbnail and there's a red circle on his hip, and then in like the magnified version it's like a picture of the Skywalker saber next to Darth Vader's lightsaber, and it's like it's clearly his. It's clearly the Skywalker saber. What are you talking about?
I saw one that Anakin was actually the brother from the
like the Mortis gods.
Yeah. That I was like, okay,
I saw that one too. Yeah,
I did not see is Anakin
and they were like,
the son,
and that's why Sam
the
got
son
passed. I was like, nah, dude, I don't think.
The only thing is they do play the Darth Vader theme, but I think that was just like, hey, it's Anakin. Like, in case you forgot, this guy's Darth Vader. I don't think it was like saying that he was evil or something, but I don't know.
Yeah, no. As far as we know, correct me if I'm wrong, but as far as we know,
oh boy, it's Bayou Billy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh Lord,
sun's up.
You hear that, boy? It's time for a boy. You want to go to the Kentucky River? They say it's time for Ahsoka, and they got no high noon, and they it's time for that. It's time for that. And let me tell you something, my boy.
Bill has to do this whole podcast in this voice. He cannot break character once. This is his SNL audition.
Let me tell you one time, if you don't mind. Ahsoka, she's a real cool lady. Now, but my favorite character is Doobie Balin. Balin's cold. And they got the hottie too. She's a little bit hottie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. Now let's go Tigers. Anyway.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Go Knowles.
Oh,
Bill, hey, everybody. I'm good, man.
That was so good. It's so nice to meet you, Bill.
There's not even any context there. It was just him doing Bayou Bill.
That was
forced. It was great.
All Jared had to say was, "Hey, Bayou Bill's here," and immediately the spirit just.
I know it's like the Winter Soldier activation codes. It's like train car longing December. Oh yeah, she got a fucking old.
That's all it took. It's longing and rushing. That's what we do. That's what we do.
Oh my goodness.
What did I miss? I'm sorry.
Oh, we're talking about shitty clickbait thumbnails, discussing this episode of the show. Because Spencer was calling me out because I said I was going to have Anakin in the thumbnail and called it clickbait.
Yeah, I called it clickbait. I called him on it.
Listen, there's a healthy amount of
Spencer's like,
clickbait.
that's right, I said it.
You can still put Anakin in the thumbnail. I just want you to know that there are those out there that are going to call you clickbaity, and I want you to be prepared.
Listen,
for that.
I'm not putting a picture of Anakin in the thumbnail. It's like 10 reasons why this is Abeloth. Like it's like, oh hey, look,
this is really Rio Durant.
Rio Durant in a fucking skin suit.
Kevin Durant.
But John
Kevin Durant is no Rio Durant.
Threes only.
But no, Bill, how are you feeling coming off of this magnificent episode?
Man, I feel great about it. Like I know that there like people have complained about the CGI with Anakin and all that stuff, but fuck that. I think that is tired and stupid because everything about this episode is exactly what I love about Star Wars. And like, if you have a problem with it, like I totally get it. But like for me, like, what do you want? Like, especially if you're like a fan of Rebels, if you're a fan, this show has been like the perfect mix of like original trilogy, sequel trilogy, Rebels. It's I don't know what else you could want. And like for years and years and years, the thing that I've like, the idea that like live action Ahsoka and live action Anakin can interact. And I know that's what the next episode's going to be. Like, take that out of it. Just take like that part out of it. Everything else about the episode fucking rocks. So like, I feel great about it. And that's not the high noon. I promise. It's good shit. But
I really do agree with you, because like this episode was remarkable. And like for me personally, like I tweeted about it. Like I was tweaking from the title card. Like that's the only way I can describe it. Like this was exactly what you were saying, Bill. For me, like this is all of my favorite Star Wars shit in one episode. Where
Give some
I am,
more
like,
detail there. What are some of your like favorite things in Star Wars that this episode had?
I love the kind of like moral quandary that you get here with Sabine having to make that call between, you know, following what is objectively the greater good and succumbing to selfishness. I am, as I've been saying for every single review so far, enthralled by Baylan Skull. I want to know everything about his personal philosophy. The fact that he goes into this mourning the fact that he's gonna have to like dog walk Ahsoka, and he knows he can and he does, but like he still comes out with this aggression, and like it's just so fascinating that he does not make any bones about going through with the act. He's just going to make it abundantly clear that he didn't want to. But there's still not an ounce of hesitation in him. And despite the fact that he seems like this enlightened darksider, you still see him like telepathically taking advantage of Sabine. Like he just fascinates me so much.
Do you think like, is that the dark side though? Like I feel like I don't feel like he's a bad person or like a bad guy. Like, you know, like
I don't know. I think the jury's going to be out on that until we have a better understanding of his motives. I like, as of now, I love Baylan. He might be my favorite character in the show so far. And I'm not even going to pretend this wasn't the case. I was rooting for him during that lightsaber duel. Which Spencer and I are going to get real sweaty about.
You're just so predictable.
What is that supposed to mean?
Nothing.
No, talk your shit. Talk your shit, Errol Flynn.
Listen, man, I don't hide who I am. No, this was just a complete accident. That's another thing you missed, Bill, is that I took out the razor and I ended up looking
Spencer's
like Errol
so
Flynn
excited
today.
to show everybody his Errol Flynn.
Yeah, this was, believe it or not. And
I loved you in Robin Hood Men in Tights. I really did.
You don't believe it, but I did not wake up this morning thinking today I'm going to be Errol Flynn. Yeah,
but it's the hat that you wear and the hat that you got, and you're working it.
And this I didn't even get. This was a souvenir from Austria, so I didn't even wake up this morning and think today I'm going to shave and then I'm going to put on my Tyrolean cap. I just thought, you know, I've got the perfect hat for this. But anyway, Jared, to answer your question, I don't know when you haven't seen a red saber wielding, interesting, motived character and not been like, "Oh, I'm all about this." That's all I'm saying.
Saber's
to
orange,
answer your question,
it is orange.
Actually, his lightsaber is orange.
Listen, bro.
Actually,
listen. That. All right. Here I go. That is
He's going.
That is a Saber Forge Ultra Saber red lightsaber. That's not an orange lightsaber.
Okay. Errol, you're so wrong. You're so wrong.
Listen,
I'm
dude,
so sorry.
I'm looking at these sabers that are on primetime Disney Plus television, and I'm like, this looks like the kind of coloration you get from color discs on a saber website. I have seen red lightsabers before. I have seen orange lightsabers.
Dave Filoni himself has said it. He's like, it's orange, like it's not red. Like, but
it shows up weird.
All
on
right,
TV.
Bill.
I will say, like,
when you see Merrick's saber compared to Balin's saber, you can tell the difference in the colors. That's
I can tell the difference. Listen, I'm not saying it's red. I'm just not saying it's orange. All right,
blood orange.
It is.
I love when Star Wars is red.
It's a grapefruit orange.
we're getting like we are so like into the
Grapefruits are
weeds
so
where
pale.
we are like discussing like is this shade of orange? What
Listen,
shade
Bill,
of orange is it?
This is your fault, Bill. I just said that Jared
Are
gravitates.
you gaslighting me? It feels like you're gaslighting me right now. This is your fault?
Listen,
are you kidding me?
This is your
Listen,
fault,
Bill. Bill,
Are you kidding
Bill
me?
came in at
All I
100
said-
miles an hour.
all I
It will not
said-
stop.
This is the high noon talking with you, Bill. I'm just
No,
saying.
whoa, no,
That's a tequila high noon. That's why he's acting
no.
like this.
It's the espresso martini I had 3 hours ago that's coming in hot right now. And the high noon hasn't shown up yet.
I cannot wait.
He's
for
on
the
his
high
way
noon.
though.
He's
All-
coming. I'm gonna
All
come.
I said was that Jared, of course, gravitates toward red lightsaber wielding, and by that I mean dark side characters
Okay.
who have any amount of personality whatsoever.
Here's
that
my
was,
take
that
on
was
that.
me. That was me, Bill. Hold on. That was me.
Here's
was
my
me.
take on that.
Bill, stop it. That was me just poking a little goad in Jared's side. That was not a statement whatsoever. I was just picking fun at Jared. Now, Bill, please tell us.
Here's my
Tell
take
us
on
all
that.
your thoughts.
Balin's lightsaber is 100% on the orange spectrum.
You're
It
right.
is 100% on the orange edge of the
Or
red
it's
spectrum.
orangish, reddish spectrum.
If you'd
um,
like, Bill, I can
uh-huh.
turn off my lights and show you what an orange lightsaber is because I own one.
Are you like gonna like
That
flash
sounded
me?
kinda
Like is
sexual.
that?
I'm not
is
gonna
that,
flash
like,
you. No.
You want to see my orange lightsaber? Sure. I mean, like I'm a ginger, so like I'm used to it. So like,
Yeah,
sure,
just
come
one,
through.
Just 1 second. I'll flat. No. I'm
Okay,
good.
just-
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Anyway, that's all I got.
But this is a wonderful fucking episode. No, I do. I mean, and you're right, Spencer. It's any enigmatic dark sider is. I'm immediately tell me more.
Thank you.
It's
Do it again.
listen, lightsaber, cape, interesting personal philosophy. It's checking all my
And some
boxes.
dope
I
pauldrons.
will say
Don't
this.
forget
Some
the
dope ass
pauldrons.
pauldrons.
I will say this. Jared, before I had seen the Ahsoka 2-part premiere, he told me there is a guy in this show that's like the dark side version of Qui-Gon, and I love it. And so far, that description is 100% true.
I
And
agree.
it's fascinating.
It even like some of like his mannerisms kind of mirror Qui-Gon too. Like I don't think Qui-Gon would have ultimately like turned to the dark side, but like this is the closest version, I think. And even Dooku like it is a little bit of that. Like this feels like I don't know, a more like kind of a I don't want to say it because I know Jared's gonna hate it, like, and I hate saying it, and you can cancel me if you want to.
Oh, I will.
It's like a more gray Jedi version of like Count Dooku, like in Qui-Gon, which I hate saying because like it's not a real thing, but like I feel like that's like this is the closest version we're probably gonna get to that, even though like I hate that I said that.
Well,
I'm
no,
not-
I
I'm not
understand what
happy
you're
about
saying
it.
because I mean, in your defense of the Great Jedi thing, like the issue with the Dark Jedi title, at least in canon currently, is that we haven't had a Dark Jedi who was not, at the end of the day, kind of just a diet Sith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
like, and if they weren't like, and by that I mean like honestly, every single Dark Jedi we've had in canon, except for maybe Dagan Gera in Jedi Survivor, at the end of the day was serving the Sith.
I think if I may,
Whether they knew it or not, in the case of Kylo Ren.
I think the closest example of someone that might actually be an example of like a gray Jedi might be Ahsoka herself, because she's not a discount Sith. I think we can all agree that she has those Sith-like inclinations in her, and yet she is a light side, but like do what needs to be
Unaligned,
done. Yeah.
I think that also, and you and I have had this conversation before, Spencer, where like the term gray Jedi falls into like really muddy water, because when you say gray Jedi online, a lot of people only hear it as like this weird power fantasy where
Yeah.
you are not bound by the laws of the Force, that
But
you can
yeah,
willy-nilly
yeah.
touch the dark side. Whereas like anytime I've ever used the term gray Jedi, it's the inverse of a dark Jedi. It's like
Yeah.
you're a light side Force user, you're just not like a card carrying member of the Jedi Order and are therefore not bound by their rules. You know, as like a dark Jedi is like you are not a card carrying Sith Lord, but you're a dark sider and you're not like bound by the Sith code.
Yeah.
So like in that context, yeah, like Ahsoka is the gray Jedi of all, is like the great gray Jedi. But like that's the issue with that term, is that like it has too many meanings within the fandom.
Yeah.
But no, like with Balin, again, like watching him prod Ahsoka, like it's really interesting to me, especially coming off of reading Inquisitor Rise of the Red Blade, because that book takes a really nuanced approach to critiquing the Jedi and takes a really nuanced approach to how a fallen Jedi interacts with the dark side, and does a really good job of doing the whole, oh, look, I'm finally free from this order that was so repressive. And now I can like let my, kind of like let my dark side freak flag fly. That was hard to say. Now that I'm on the other side of it.
You nailed it.
But then you watch Iskat kind of also get consumed by, oh, you know, maybe I had issues with the Jedi, but like this whole dark side, this whole, you know, diet Sith Lord thing, kind of sucks in a lot of different ways, kind of more than being a Jedi did. And it's, you know, so seeing the way that Rise of the Red Blade plays with this idea of transcending the Jedi by turning to the dark side, I'm fascinated by the way that Balin, you know, he's like, oh, you know, faith is something I lost a long time ago, but he's also like mourning the fact that he knows he's going to have to kill a Jedi. But while he's also mourning having to take on Ahsoka, he also has no issue being like, you're Darth Vader's apprentice. Like, you are the last living embodiment of how much of a fuck up this order could be. Like, it's just like, you never, you know, show don't tell, right? That's the whole thing. But like, I just want Balin to sit down and be like, this is how I feel about the Force. Like, I just want to pick this character's brain.
You want him to record a podcast about his opinions on the Jedi?
Balin's
6-part series. That would be great. I would love that.
I want the Balin Skullcast. Deeply.
Nice.
But no, so Balin's like, again, it's also his relationship with Shin, that again in this episode, like, you see that he like implicitly has so much faith in her. You know,
do you think she's his daughter?
I don't know.
I think that'd be interesting. I think that's really interesting. Like the idea of like a father and daughter, like that, like the father's the master and like the daughter's the apprentice, and like that is like the antithesis of everything like the Jedi were about. Yeah, honestly, because it's all attachment. That's like,
it seems like it's also the antithesis of everything the Sith are about.
Yeah, true.
Because true. Like you're right. In the Jedi sense, it's like we cannot have attachment because that leads to a whole slew of complications. But on the Sith side of things, that seems to me like it's equally problematic, because there's like, you have in a similar kind of way an attachment that is dangerous. Like you're not prepared to do what needs to be done because or you're not prepared to let go and like see yourself be like this. Nobody wants to be killed by their own daughter and supplanted.
Yeah. No master in that situation would want to kill their own daughter either. Like
right. If they turn out to be not the apprentice that you need them or want them to be, that is it seems like it's equally problematic from both sides.
Yeah,
which is perhaps why we haven't
both philosophies.
Yeah, which is perhaps why we haven't seen a solid example that I know of like a child parent apprentice master relationship on either side.
Well, You're right. And another thing that I love about the idea of them potentially being related is it is again like another inversion of a Star Wars trope. You know, like we've been talking about how like so much of the first 2 episodes feels like this weird inversion of the Phantom Menace. You know, like that, like, you know, George always said it's like poetry, it rhymes. Dave is almost doing this like it's like poetry, and I'm going to make it go in the opposite direction on purpose. And here, having a father-daughter relationship is like the, you know, Star Wars is about fathers and sons. You know, that's one of its like core themes. So what are we going to do? It's going to be the daughter, and the daughter is, and they're not going to be estranged. They're not going to be, you know, chasing after each other or separated in some way. They are right here side by side, following each other into battle, master and apprentice. And like, you know, there is no weird question of, you know, oh, are they capable? Oh, do I trust them? Like whenever they're like, yeah, like, you know, Morgan, your guards aren't going to last very long against, you know, a Jedi Knight, a Mandalorian who's like a Padawan, and Hu Yang. He's like, yeah, they won't. She will. She'll slow him down. You know, like he knows what she's capable of, and
Also,
he's very he's very with
You're good.
subdued whenever he like calls Shin to heal. Whenever she tries to kill Sabine, you know.
Period.
The line in what was it, episode 1 or 2, where I think Balin basically said something like, "Do as you're told."
Oh
Like,
man,
like that. If they are like father and daughter, like that is such like a fatherly thing to say to like your kid. Like, do as you're told. And I just like. If all this is true,
take that a step further, though. I'm sorry, Bill. You just got me
You're
excited.
good.
I wanted to
Go.
follow up on
Take
that. That dynamic between them is that what the thing that begets the do as she tells you is that Shin gets orders from Morgan Elsbeth and then immediately goes, "Okay, what do you want me to do?"
yeah.
And then she's like, I hear what she says. What do you say? And then she defers to Balin, and then she's like, "Okay, I'll do what she said then."
Also, like we're talking about this dynamic between like a parent and a child. If I think at some point, like if it's this season or if it's season 2, what do you think Luke thinks about this? That the idea that like a father and a child, like they're master and apprentice, like that's kind of like.
I bet it sends a chill down his spine.
That's what Vader wanted. Like that, I would like.
Yeah,
we can rule the galaxy as father and son. Like that's kind of what it's very, very similar to what Vader wanted. But like if they're, I don't know what it is about just this conversation, but like these ideas of like of the Star Wars is about family, and like if Balin and Hati or Shin, excuse me, sorry, are related. I mean, that's the most family that you get. Like that's Anyway, sorry.
No, I do think it's an interesting dynamic, and it's one that I welcome. And again, like it's part of my like I want to know everything about Balin Skull that I can, because like again, you have this survivor of the Purge who's doing his own thing, who has this really weird philosophy that we haven't had fully explored yet. But like he has a second in command who's wearing a Padawan braid, but he's not a Jedi. He explicitly says that he's lost his faith, but he also like laments the fact that he'll have to kill a Jedi. Like it's just like he has so much going on. And again, pay your goddamn actors and writers, because you know we're talking about Ray Stevenson's performance again. So much of this is in Ray's performance. So much of these like little moments, you know, where like this was the first time, like, I mean, you know, there's the very beginning of the show where he and Shin ripped through that New Republic ship. But like, aside from him just having that like we are no Jedi, you know, kind of moment, like this is the first time we see him like be menacing, and he's fucking scary. Like, you know, he just has so much confidence, and you know, it shows in his in the way that he fights. Like, and again, it's performancing, like Rey's facial expressions, where like you see him getting frustrated. That intense look he gives Ahsoka, where they're kind of like locked up towards the ground, and he kind of pulls her around, and then he cuts that Stonehenge up, like that. Oh man,
dude, a
he's
lot
so
of
good.
Balin's like fighting style, a lot of everything that like he like all that battle is like just a lot of it is just raw and calculated. There's like I think we were talking about this earlier in our group chat earlier, like the like little like twirl that he did where he like basically like flipped and then like went back against like Ahsoka. Like that's like
like midair spin.
that's yeah, absolutely. That's like some of the coolest like I know a lot of the like the lightsaber duels here have kind of been like a really nice mix between like the sequel stuff and like some prequel stuff. Like this felt like, oh shit. Like if that had gotten to her, like she'd gone. Like World Between Worlds, no limbs left.
Well,
Just
here's something I noticed.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Here's something I noticed watching the episode again today. Shin does almost an identical move when she's fighting Sabine, and I love that. That is such a fun little note that she takes after her master, even though they have very different fighting styles. Spencer, let's talk about this fight. Let's talk about these fights, okay? This is to everybody, but you know, my versus series, brother in arms here. We're about to get real sweaty. So let's start Marok versus Ahsoka. First off, ha 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 ha.
This was like a copy paste with a little bit extra of the one Tales of the Jedi. Like Ahsoka just made short work of this guy.
Oh, it just pieces him up.
Yeah.
Just pieces him up.
As it should have been.
Yeah,
as it should have been.
Oh, she's an Inquisitor killer at this point. Like, it's
100%.
just, it is bad for your health if you're an Inquisitor and you see Ahsoka Tano.
Get out of there. Just leave.
Yeah, she's gonna make your shirt red.
Helicopter lightsaber gone.
Well, what I really love, and I think Alex Damon said this in his review, and he put it very well, that the way that they square off with each other is just like really beautiful encapsulation of the light side and the dark side. That, you know, you have like, it's like in the Inquisitor lightsaber is this like spinning, twirling, chaotic flurry of rage and murder and death. And in Ahsoka, you just have this serene, like focused defense that, you know, she's just able to just peel right through his defense and cut him down in one fell swoop. And it also goes to something we were talking about back with the premiere, with like Marok knew he could not take Ahsoka. That is why he went in with an HK assassin droid. And that's why he made sure he had Shin with him. Unfortunately, they got split up, and like he realizes, oh shit, I'm on my own with Ahsoka. What's the first thing he does? Picks out the second blade. He knows there's no way in shape or form I can take her on without, again, reverting to like the flashy, over the top bullshit. I have to fall back on doing this nonsense, and she does not buy it for a second.
And she only has one blade out.
Yeah,
she doesn't even kick out the second blade. Like,
and that's very intentional, I think. And like, I know that people have made this comparison, but like it's the twin sons and Rebels. It's Obi-Wan versus Maul. Like that's and the moment that Merrick or whatever however you want to say his name got his spinning blade out, I knew that's knowing Filoni, that's what's gonna happen. Like that's what they're gonna do. So,
well, people keep comparing it to Twin Sons. I think it's a valid comparison. I think it's like Twin Sons had a baby with the way that Kanan killed the Grand Inquisitor. You know, where like not only is it that whole like, oh, you know, like we both have this mutual understanding of the Jedi martial arts, and of each other, but also there's that precision, that focus in the Force, that trust in the Force to like strike true through like, again, this like spinning flurry of, you know, death, which I love, and it's so well executed. Sorry guys, Marok was just some jobber that was going to stand in Ahsoka's way. It's almost like they made that abundantly clear, and that it wasn't Galen Merrick. You silly, silly people.
Was he? Do you guys think he was dead? And like that
I
Morgan,
love that theory.
Morgan brought him back to life.
I love
like,
that theory that he's like a night sister, like
because like that's the only other thing that I could think of is that like this is like a Savage Press. Like it was like she used Night Sister magic, Dathomir magic, and then like, but if he's dead and like given like. If you look at like the people that they credit in the credits, like these are like Lucasfilm game people. Like, so like they obviously were like dealing with the Zephos fair game, like things that happen on Dathomir and Fallen Order are fair game. So like I think that's fascinating because like if he's dead, that's another like this feels very Arthurian? Yeah, Arthurian legend. Yeah. Like, and if Morgan is if a magician named Morgan is bringing people back from the dead, like it doesn't get more Arthurian than that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, not to mention the fact that whenever she cuts him open, he kind of like explodes into this green witchcraft stuff.
Some wibbly wobbly. Witchy Gucci stuff,
right? It's as far as
Woochie Gucci.
It's Woochie Gucci. It's Woochie Gucci stuff. Yeah, it's the technical term.
It's a technical.
As far as fan theories go, it's not my least favorite. Woochie Gucci.
I keep seeing people say like that Merrick died the same way that the Inquisitor did in Tales of the Jedi, and like the helmet deflates, but like you don't see anything else after that.
Yeah, everybody says that Inquisitor deflates. I don't think he deflates. I think there's not a head in that mask, and it just kind of because there's no structure to it. Like I don't.
Like, he's just kind of.
Yeah, Marok
like there's no green, no smoke or anything.
That man blew the fuck up.
Like as soon as he realized that he had a slice across his like entire abdominal area, he was like. And just like opened up like it was a fucking poltergeist.
Yeah,
organic self-destruct.
Aliens better.
Organic self-destruct.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that fight was incredible. Shin v Sabine round 2. Again, absolutely love it. I love seeing like the Form 1 on Form 4 kind of, it's very fluid. It's very it's very wide open. I love watching Shin fight. I can't remember the name of the lady who plays Shin, but like she just has a wonderful physicality to the swordplay and stuff. And I love that Natasha Liu-Bordizzo has this. I also love that like there's an unsure stiffness to her that like comes across really well, but especially the first time they fight, but the second time she's more confident, but there's still some of that like, ooh, damn, gotta kind of keep my distance here.
Do you guys think that she used the Force there at that there because I like rewatching that
That's what I was about to say,
where she like raises her arm, like the sound is there, and like I think Shin like feels something. Like, do you think like this is like they keep setting it up like she like. Because I think. Go ahead.
No, sorry. I think this season we're gonna watch Sabine swing and miss multiple times before she hits it. I think she's gonna hit it. I think someone's getting force pushed or something's getting force pulled. Sabine is going to do some type of like outward use of the Force before the end of this season. Well, I don't think there's any way around that.
And if I know. I initially had a problem with Sabine using the Force and maybe being Force sensitive, but like you have an entire original trilogy where like Leia has like a moment where she like uses the Force, and then like in The Rise of Skywalker, it's like, no, she was trained. So like if they're like one of the major characters from the original trilogy is Force sensitive, they showed pieces of it, but then like didn't fully explore it until later on. I think it's the same thing. Like so like it doesn't bother me as much, and I kind of want to see it because like now I'm like, okay, any kind of hesitation I had with that is kind of out the door now because I think this is in such great hands and like everything has worked for me. So like I'm just like, okay, if it's a good enough reason, if the story is great, I'm gonna listen. So.
Well, it also, this moment goes hand in hand with one line that Ahsoka had, I believe it was last week, with the whole, I don't need her to be a Jedi, I need her to be yourself, and like, what does Sabine do? She doesn't try to, maybe she was trying to do it, but she just went, okay, fuck it, wrist darts instead. And, like tries to shoot Shin in the face, she's not being a Jedi, she's being herself.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just in the pantheon of just brutal hits in Star Wars, that force push into the
tree, yeah, I felt
where
that.
Helmet flies off.
I felt that.
Oh, whoo! Hold on, Shin Hati.
Cut that dog at 12.
Yeah, it's just goddamn. I felt, like you said, I felt that like, oof. I don't think we've ever seen in Star Wars someone get hit so hard their helmet flies off.
Yeah, that was that.
Unless they die.
Force pushed pretty hard by Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens. I feel like in the forest at the very end.
That one's bad. But I think part of what makes it so vicious is that he force pushes her up. That like she goes up into the tree and then falls down. Where like it's like that Trey, Bill, you guys might know what I'm talking. Even you, Case, maybe. Like that one guy on TikTok where like someone will throw something at somebody else and he'll stitch it and he'll be like, no curve, no incline, no delineation, just straight fucking gas. Like, I got to find one of those videos now and put that in the thing. That's what it was. Like, she just goes straight back sideways.
She was hit so hard that if that like had happened in The Mandalorian to Din Djarin, like, that would have been a whole like half a season of like him atoning for his crimes. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh no, I lost my helmet. And so now I have to go on a mythical quest to like cure myself in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, basically.
Sabine took a Charlie Cox Daredevil hit. Like that's like if that happened to Charlie Cox Daredevil, the rest of this show would have just been her healing. That she got her shit rocked and got back up because Beskar armor is very convenient to have when somebody tries to break your back with a tree trunk.
Talk to Batman, he knows.
Man,
I was wondering what would break first.
Your spirit.
Hot take. That's one of the best. That's one of my favorite superhero fights ever.
That's one of my favorite villains.
Superhero fight.
Yeah.
That Dark Knight Rises is one of my favorite superhero movies of all time, and I'm tired of people saying that it's a bad movie.
I don't know that that's a hot take at all, Jared. I think that's a pretty solid take.
I mean, Bill and I are in the minority of people who like fucking love Dark Knight Rises.
That's like,
I like it.
It's like Logan, Dark Knight Rises. Like Dark Knight Rises and Dark Knight are in the same category for me. Like I'm
yeah, same.
Based by you, Bill. Trey is seething right now.
Dark Knight Rises is good. It's good. It's not the Dark.
He's
seething.
He's seething
right
now.
It's not the Batman.
Oh, it's definitely not the Batman. I don't know. I said that once in a Discord call with a lot of our friends, and I got fucking dogpiled.
You should. Where was I? I'm sorry that I wasn't there to defend you.
You weren't there. No, it was basically me versus Chris Swift by myself. Just kidding.
I'd like to introduce you to my lawyer, Bayou Bill.
Well, let me tell you something. In a court of law, the Dark Knight Rises stands on his own, and that's okay.
I'm so sorry. Oh my god.
Have you ever considered voice acting, Bill?
God, I've gotten that 2 weeks in a row, and not until recently.
Let's pursue it. Let's go.
It's all.
He can do one character. It's a guy from Louisiana named Bayou Bill. That's it. He's a very specific casting.
You're gonna be on like commercials, man.
Do you guys know who claims has been offered more voice acting roles than they can count?
Eli.
Is it?
He's searching.
Is it Bill?
Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind. Talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil!
I have to agree. Justin Bieber is pure evil, but
Who-
the rest of that.
Who is Justice Beaver?
So moving into the Ahsoka Balin fight. I said this when we did our call-in show. I was talking about this on Comic Book Cast. So check that review when it's out on their channel. I think Balin's skull, and Spencer, I want to hear your thoughts on this, might have the most advanced live-action depiction of Gemso. I think this might be the best technical execution of Form 5 we've seen in live action. Like you don't see any of the pitfalls. He's not stalking around like some like lumbering fucking like brute like Vader does a lot of the time, which again is a lot of that is like the limitations of blah 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 blah. We all know. But like he has a swiftness to him that is just so fun to watch. Like we were talking about it earlier. I haven't shut up about it in our group chat or on Twitter. Like that whirlwind attack he does on Ahsoka. Oh my God.
It's hot.
Like that looked like
hot.
something
It's
out of
real
a
hot.
video game.
Yeah.
That looked like shit out of Jedi Survivor. Like sincerely.
I agree. It's good shit. Like
It's very good shit.
That whole fight was just. It was. I was talking to all our aforementioned group chat about like every Star Wars era has their own kind of lightsaber feel. You know, like I feel like the prequels, the blades themselves or the hilts are super light. In this, I felt like they were heavy. And this episode specifically reminded me of probably my favorite game of all time at this point, Ghosts of Tsushima, and how in that game you have different stances for your different, you know, attacks. So you can have even in, you know, Jedi Survivor, you with the crossguard saber, it's really heavy. And I just really liked, you know, Jared, you were talking about it when Balin attacks, like the way he holds his saber is such a cool. I think you said Form 5. I'm not sweaty enough to know what form it was, but I thought it was great. And the way this show has done lightsaber fights, I mean, you have Sabine, someone who she might be force sensitive. She's not really force like sensitive yet. She's holding her own against Shin, and I think she's doing a good job, and it's cool. Shin has her own fighting style. I just really like how this show has done fight choreography in a way that I think in 15 years, once the show has really been digested, we'll go back and look at it as its own thing, the way that we do the prequels, the sequels, the original trilogy. And I like that.
Me too.
I totally agree. Yeah. I think to your point, Jared, there is an element of brutishness about Balin's form. Like if we're just looking at his blade work, it doesn't seem sophisticated to me at all. Like it doesn't look like this. Looks like somebody who's doing a form. It looks like somebody who is swinging hard and knows how to exploit an opening. And you can argue that a lot of Gemso is swinging hard and knowing how to exploit an opening, but like in terms of the sheer, I think you're right. I think in a sense, what we see from Balin is the strength that you always see from Gemso with the sense of agility that you want to see from Gemso.
Yeah.
Not like locked into only like over, you know, zone one. Like that's the Gemso we often see. And if Balin is truly a Gemso practitioner, that's the Gemso we want to see.
Yeah.
It seems to me like it is perhaps an unpolished, like I envision Balin as somebody who's master studied Gemso, but he never finished his training, and he's been just making it up to fill in the gaps ever since. That's the sense I get from Balin in a way that really works. It works. I mean, he ends up beating Ahsoka in sheer blade work, and you can't argue too greatly against that result. but we can still, on a practical and on an analytical level, look at the blade work and say, like, this is sophisticated, but not necessarily well disciplined, if that makes sense.
I was watching and I've been, after these new episodes have been coming out, I've been watching a lot of Screen Crush. Ryan Ari, I think he does good work on the whole. He made the point that, like, if you look at, what Ahsoka, when traditionally what she's done, who she's faced off well against, it's like kind of like your quicker opponents, like it's all the Inquisitors. And then the people that she's like,
we say that really, this on the Versus series, she's dog shit against power fighters.
Exactly. And so who is that? That's
Vader.
That's Vader. That's
Grievous.
Balin. That's Grievous.
Yeah.
Like, and that's like, this is Balin is fighting in the exact style that, like,
he's
Ahsoka,
a match made for Helen.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And I think that's like everything that he said in that fight, like, was the, like, exactly like the opposite of what she's great at. Like, she's like saying, like, he's saying, like, oh, your master and your legacy is just death and destruction. That's powerful. That's like, that hits deep for her, because it does. And then, like, on top of that, like, it's just the power and structure of how he fights. I think you make great points about all that. So
not only did he not only did he physically subvert her, he psychologically fucked with her too.
Oh yeah.
And Spencer, I find your take on his fighting style interesting, because I disagree with you in a lot of places. For me, like, a lot of where I think he soars is like an advanced Gemso practitioner, comes in the form of how he has subverted the mobility issue. That, like, again, like, when we think of like the Gemso heavy hitters, like a Kylo Ren or a Darth Vader, so much of it is like based around, like, Kylo is just this fucking berserker who's a heavy hitter because he's physically strong. And he's one of those people that, like, kind of falls into that Form 5 mold because it plays to his strengths. Similar thing with Vader, where he has that, like, we've talked about 1,000 times in the Versus series. Give us $5 and you'll watch a whole back catalog of it. Of, like, him, like, also physically just being super heavy handed because he's just a big fucking guy. Then you look at, like, Luke, he has a mobility issue. He, despite not being, like, 6.5 feet tall and mostly made out of metal, has a tendency, at least in the original trilogy, to kind of park and bark and just plant himself, and, almost gets outmaneuvered by Vader several times because he's falling into that pitfall. Balin, really fascinatingly for me, I love the way that he uses his forward momentum. Like, he is taking these big swings. Like, a lot of people love to make fun of Anakin in Revenge of the makes fun of Anakin in Revenge of the Sith, when he takes that huge swing at Count Dooku when they're going up the stairs. Like, he swings at Dooku so hard he spins himself around. And then it kind of has to reset and then go back on the attack. Balin does that, but in a calculated way. He is swinging his whole body around. And it's amazing because, again, like, Gemso Form 5 is based around counter-offensives. Like, you should not just be blocking an attack. You should be blocking their attack with an attack. You should be swinging back at them the entire time. And that's what Balin does. Like, he is not blocking a lot of Ahsoka's attacks. He's just hitting her back and harder. And he's using that forward momentum to kind of ping-pong himself around to the other side. And he also has this remarkable blade control. Like, whenever they got into that blade binding shit, where he catches her at his neck and bends her around, like, it's like, oh my god, like, that is what I fucking want in a lightsaber duelist.
Do you guys think that, like, and this is just where my headcanon is with all this, I kind of think that, like, Balin is kind of meant to, like, symbolize, like, if Anakin hadn't, like, fully turned to the dark side, like, this is like
what an old man Anakin
could
have been
like. Exactly. That, like, and that's,
I was kind
of
thinking that.
That's why I think that
I would thought the same thing. If Anakin had, like, become an old man, this is what he'd fight like.
I think this, and I think that's why a lot of us find Balin so compelling because like there are different facets to him where he's like, you know, he's this old Jedi. He's a lot. Honestly, he's a lot of things that Anakin was before he turned to the dark side. He was. I know that we don't really know why Balin left, but like if he was disillusioned and left the Order because like he didn't trust the Jedi and where they were going, that's Anakin. Anakin was I think given the choice between like in a altered reality, I think Anakin would have probably stepped away from the Order, taken care of his kids, walked away with Padme, and this is kind of what he would have done. I think that if that's the case and that's what they're doing, I think that that's a very like a genius villain for Ahsoka, because like who better to face as the main villain or as the antagonist of the Ahsoka show, Anakin's apprentice, than a mirror image of Anakin, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, so
Well, absolutely. Well, I mean, you mentioned that. That's another thing I wanted to talk about earlier, and we kind of lost in the sauce with some more silly conversations. My favorite thing about Star Wars TV is like the multi-meaning titles.
Mhm.
You know, like one of my favorites, one of my all-time favorite examples was the premiere of season 3 of The Mandalorian, The Apostate. I loved it because everybody in that episode was an apostate in some way. Din was an apostate to the Children of the Watch. Bo-Katan was an apostate to her fellow Mandalorians. Grief Karga was considered an apostate to kind of like the criminal underworld. Like everybody kind of like had this sense that they in some way, shape, or form turned their back on like whatever outfit thought they belonged to. And you know, in the example of this episode, Trey, I'll be right back. I just bumped him out until he comes back. Like Fallen Jedi is so multi-meaning, and I love it. Like Fallen Jedi is obviously Balin's Skull. Fallen Jedi is Ahsoka in more ways than one.
Literally.
Yeah, she is fallen, you know, and she is defeated. She also fell. She also has also like lost her way in many ways. You know, like I think that, you know, like we see Ahsoka give into her anger. You know, when she sees Shin, she clearly thinks Sabine's gone, and she lashes out. And we see that this impulse Ahsoka has had to like force, no pun intended, down all of her attachments and like refuse attachment has led to her becoming like has turned her into a bit of a powder keg. So like she's like, you know, I'm not getting attached. Oh fuck, I got Sabine killed, and she lashes out and it leaves her vulnerable. You know, and then you have that. You have Sabine is the fallen Jedi. She is a Padawan. You know, like force sensitivity and what's going on there be damned. You know, she may as well be a Jedi right now, or at least one in training. And she chose selfishly, you know? And again, like by the end of the show, I'm sure that we'll be like, oh, she made the right decision in hindsight. But still, like, she had the opportunity to nip this whole bringing Thrawn back thing in the butt. You know, she, like, Sabine choosing to draw her blaster on the map and not the lightsaber was how you knew she wasn't going to do it.
Here's my thing with it.
Here's your take on that.
Here's my take on it. I think like the Jedi always talk about how like, oh, you can't lean on attachment, blah, blah, blah. But like, I think ultimately like saving your friends is like kind of like for the greater good anyway. Like that's like a very Jedi thing to do. Like saving your friends, saving your family. That's like, I think that like this idea of like attachment has been misconstrued in Star Wars Jedi. Cause like at the end of the day, you're saving people that you love. And that's kind of like, I think that's like for the greater good. Like I don't have a, I think at the end of, I think your point of like, at the end of the day, I think this is probably going to like show like this was for the best anyway. But like, my main problem with like what Luke took away from the Jedi and like this version of the Jedi that we're getting right now is that they didn't fully learn the lessons from the Old Republic. Like it's like no attachment. Like no. Like what ultimately saved Darth Vader? What saved the galaxy? It was the attachment to Luke's attachment to his father. Like it's this, I think it's going to be the same thing. Like it's
here's my interpretation there. I do think that what needs to be better defined is the difference between attachment and connection. An attachment is how Anakin loved Padme. It was a selfish love. He was not trying to save, it was controlling. He did not want to save Padme's life for Padme. He was saving Padme's life because he didn't know what he would do without her. It was about him, and I think the difference there is that, again, continue to use Anakin and Vader, and like the decision he makes at the end of his life is difficult because you're already dealing with somebody who has a lot of attachment issues, and that is what it is. But like the Jedi's greatest failing is not understanding what an attachment is. And I know it's kind of what you said, but I think it goes in a different direction. I don't think it's that attachment is good actually. It's just that what they define as attachment is incorrect. Anakin had an attachment to Padme. Obi-Wan Kenobi loves Satine Kryze more than life itself. But he did not let what happened to her drive him mad. If Darth Maul plunged the Darksaber into Padme's chest, that's a different fucking scene. That is not Obi-Wan waxing poetic about how only those who fall to the dark side are the weak ones and blah, blah, blah. Anakin's going to snap a band and like crush that whole room with the Force. Before anybody can breathe, he's going to like crush people's entire chest.
I think that's another like story too, because like if that had happened, like Anakin would have like done dark side stuff, but like would he have like fully turned like the same way that he did with Palpatine? Like I think if you put Anakin on Mandalore instead of like where he was, I think he does that exact same stuff, but I think Obi-Wan is ultimately able to save him because he's like right there with him, even though like
no, and I agree with you on that as well. And I think a lot of it comes down to attachment. Again, to me, is a lot of like attachment is forbidden because you, as somebody who is expected to be somewhat of an objective peacekeeper and guardian, we should not have to question whether or not you're willing to sacrifice a world for one person.
Right.
I don't trust Anakin Skywalker with that choice, of having to make that incredibly hard decision to save countless people, even if it means losing the one person you love the most, and again, and I'm not saying that like, the best Jedi are the ones who are automatons. Like my favorite Jedi are, Qui-Gon and Cal and Rey and, Elzar Mann, like, it's not like my favorite Jedi are the fucking golden children, and a lot of the attachment conversation could go on for a minute, and Bill ran away from me, so I win. That's the second L.
So back to the Bayou.
Back to the Bayou. I get. Why Bill has two?
Water.
You know why Bill has two L's in his name? Because I gave him both. Wow.
You're lucky he didn't hear that.
I'm in my Kendrick Lamar Element era.
All right, moving on.
Both versions. But no, with this fight, I also think it's interesting, and Bill brought this up earlier, that Ahsoka only draws one sword for both of these fights.
I noticed that.
And I thought of you, Spencer. I thought of you. I wondered, because that's one of your big sticking points every time we talk about Ahsoka in the Versus series, is that you're like, she relies on that second saber too damn much.
And I wondered if, as I was watching this, I was wondering if she read beforehand. She was like, this guy strikes me as a power fighter. If I try to outmaneuver this guy, it's not going to work. So the only way that I can have a prayer is to not necessarily meet him strength for strength, but at least
But
try
not
to
cut my own strength in half trying to dual wield.
Exactly.
I had
At
the
least-
same thought. Yeah.
But she took the same stance with Marok though.
I think with Marok, it's a
And like
different
the rest of the Inquisitors, she was able to kick their asses.
I think with Marok, she's like, I know exactly who you are. I know exactly what your kind is. I know exactly how to deal with you. You don't scare me. I think that was her drawing one blade with Marok. It was more of an arrogant, not an arrogance move, but a confidence move.
A confidence move. I think she was also fucking with him.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh yeah, I needed 2 lightsabers the first time because you had an assassin droid with you."
Just stylistically,
I just need the one.
Stylistically, I think it's also really cool that with Ahsoka, we see the most Japanese sword wielding style in any live action thing we've ever seen. I think that's
I was literally about to say that.
It's really well done.
Like
it is very
Trey, as soon as you brought up Ghost of Tsushima, I was like, yes, that's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you very much. Like,
well,
I
you
feel
also
like the
have
show
like
is.
Go ahead, sir. You have the forest that they're fighting in. Like that looks like the Ghost of Tsushima. Like you have a lot of landscape like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I feel like because like people have always talked about how like, and I feel like George and Dave have even talked about how like it's supposed to be like it's based on samurai or like modeled after samurai. And always has been. But I feel like this is the most like actual Star Wars samurai view that we have gotten like ever at all throughout this whole thing across all the works at all. Like, I think that's super cool.
Just look at the shape of the hilt and how she holds
Ahsoka specifically.
She does not have like a hands together. She has like a on both ends so that she has like the full. It's just a very samurai, very Japanese way of approaching a sword fight, and I think that's a really awesome stylistic choice, but even artistic nod to the origins of the idea of the Jedi being like space samurai.
Yeah.
And like her lightsabers are shaped that way too. They have like more like squared off hilt.
It's so interesting to me that like since like Filoni has been able to like do like live action Jedi, like live action Ahsoka, live action Luke, they've all had
live action Kelleran back.
Exactly. They've all had a very like everyone said, Star Wars has always been influenced by Kurosawa, has been influenced by samurai films, but like this feels like since Filoni has done live action, like the like closest like the closest that it's been to that, like and I love it. Like even like Luke's like robes in Book of Boba Fett and all that, like very, very Kurosawa. So anyway.
No, I agree with you on a lot of that. And it's baked into the DNA of Star Wars. I mean, this is from that like Star Wars History Channel documentary, Star Wars: A Legacy Revealed, which I fucking love. And it was my exposure to the idea of like the Campbellian monomyth and how it affects Star Wars. But like if somebody in there mentioned something about like Jedi is kind of derived from the Japanese like word for like hero story, which is Jitageki, where like again it's kind of like this like reverse portmanteau where you're just like pairing off certain letters to like get Jedi. But no, I absolutely loved it. And again, like I want to pay your fucking writers and actors because I want somebody to be able to interview Dave Filoni to talk about this shit.
Yes.
Namely, like I want to know, like, why did Ahsoka choose to only draw one lightsaber? Obviously, we got into our like sweaty in universe reason. I feel like knowing Dave, that probably represented something.
I mean, it would have to.
Yeah.
Like
sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like I said, just what you said. I was like, I feel like it has to.
For sure.
But no, that the fight between Baylan and Ahsoka is absolutely incredible. So talked about the fight, talked about everything leading up to that. Trey, while we have you, we have to talk about it. Your boy, Your
My
favorite
boy.
Star Wars character. Kaysen's named after him.
Yes.
How you feeling about Jason Syndulla?
I thought you were going Anakin. And I'm like, when did I say Anakin's my favorite character? No, I love Jason in this. Every time Jason shows up, I like scream at my TV, and my girlfriend Jess is like, "What happened?" I'm like, oh, just Jason appeared. For those who don't know me and can't see that I have an iPhone wallpaper layout that is Jason Syndulla. And then
Can you put that on
open it,
screen again
and
one more
it's-
time?
Yes.
Oh.
This is my
I
home
love that.
screen, and then this is my wallpaper. It's one of a few I have. Yeah, I can't show the rest. But no, I think well, one's of our lovely friend Noah eating a burrito. But I think Jason Syndulla is a goblin, and I just think it's hilarious that he looks how he looks, and I just love Jason in like a mocking him way. So like it's been my personal bit that I just love Jason Syndulla and I hate him at the same time, I guess. So I was pretty excited to see him in this, and he gets the "I've got a bad feeling about this" line. I know he doesn't say about this, just says "I've got a bad feeling," which was, I was like, nice, he got it. But yeah, I love seeing him and Chopper.
I also really love the way they do it. I know that like "I've got a bad feeling about this" has kind of become.
I'm glad he said it. I'm glad he said it how he said it. I'm glad he didn't just say "I've got a bad feeling about this," because that would have been worse, in my opinion.
Well, I can't remember the name of the kid who plays him, but I think it was a really the kid made a choice as an actor that like he looked like he had an upset stomach. That like you can see the force manifesting of him going like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Like that's not like you could tell like he was like, "Oh, like I'm feeling like yeah, like you almost died and that was bad." But you can tell there's something happening behind his eyes where it's like he is feeling something inside him, like ringing the alarm bell. And I like that a lot. But Ahsoka falls into the water again. Oh, also, while Spencer's here, I just got to bring it up. I think, Star Wars fans don't often deserve praise. But I am proud of us as a community for not raising holy terror about the Rebels epilogue being retconned.
Who cares?
I agree. Well, that's what I'm saying. Who cares? Like, I'm glad we as a community did not lose their ever-loving fucking minds about that scene being somewhat recontextualized. And, Spencer, you kind of brought, like, we talked about the Tolkien of it all before. I don't remember if it was on air or not. But I do like the fact that, like, I think that this show does end with Ahsoka the White. And I really love the fact that, again, leaning into Dave Filoni's penchant for Tolkien, that what is probably going to lead to her becoming Ahsoka the White is her falling.
Yeah.
To ostensibly her death. And, like, that Balin's skull is her Balrog. Like, Dude, that I love. Like, and I'm not even that much of a lore. I'm not that much of a Tolkien guy, but like, Balin's skull's the Balrog. Like, I'm
You've activated my crackpot theory trap card. I saw
you
someone
lose 2,000
earlier.
life points, Kaiba.
I saw someone earlier. I don't remember if it was definitely in a video that I watched, because like Star Wars videos come up in my feed all the time. So I was just like, yeah, let's just see what this person has to say. And I forget who it was or what channel.
Star Wars Theory.
Yeah,
it wasn't Star Wars Theory. I know that because I don't even click on his.
I want everybody to know, back when Kaysen and I first became friends, I got to have the conversation with Kaysen that people have to have with like their little boy cousins who watch Andrew Tate, that I had to like slowly wean Kaysen off of Star Wars Theory.
Listen,
Yeah,
Kaysen, are you an alpha? Are you an alpha?
No, I don't think so.
He is.
Okay, got he. Or you seem like
I
an
mean,
alpha.
like,
that's good.
Kaysen is an alpha now.
That's good.
Right,
Do you have that dog in you?
I like to think that I do. I've been told that I do.
Don't invoke the
Spencer saw me
I'm not
start
an
to
Andrew Tate
furiously
watcher.
scroll.
I did. I saw you reach for the touchpad. I was like, please no.
Mayhaps think that you. I'm sorry. That's so mean.
All right, everybody. Let's just take a breather here.
Okay.
Praise be to Shaq T.
I'm not looking.
I love Shaq T.
I'm not looking.
He's
Oh.
gone. It's okay.
No,
The
I
crackpot
don't
theory
trust
thing.
you.
Do you trust me, Spencer? He's gone.
Okay.
I wouldn't hurt you.
All right, we're good. Thank you.
The dude said that he thinks that it's possible that the Rebels epilogue was not retconned per se, but that after Ahsoka, what you think is falling to her death, would get another shot and basically go back and redo what has been done so far as Ahsoka the White. And I was like,
I
I don't think so.
I'm not 100%
I don't-
sold because I don't want the world between worlds to turn into time travel.
Right.
But there has been so many dialogue call outs to you will regret that choice. You made a mistake. You have chosen wrong. You have chosen poorly. That it's almost like
It
a
didn't have
video
to come to
game.
this.
It didn't have, it's almost like the way a video game that has branching outcomes will make a note of this is a moment where you made a choice as a player. And
That's what he do. He fucked up.
And I don't know. I'm not into it because I don't want the world between worlds to become too time travel-y. But I also kind of like the idea that the Force will grant Ahsoka a chance to have a mulligan here.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I could be sold on it. I could be sold on that with the right context. I could buy it. I could buy it for $1. We are nearing the end here, so we got to talk the ending, and then we got some Q&A stuff. I want to give a shout out to my lovely, lovely girlfriend, my life partner, the light bright of my life, who has to watch this show with me as it airs.
Love Miss Taylor.
We love Miss Taylor.
I miss
You
Taylor.
do love Taylor.
You miss Taylor?
I miss Taylor. I miss Taylor.
She's a trooper. Again, Spencer Kaysen were there for me crying hysterically in public for Return of the Jedi. Taylor and Spencer, I was sandwiched in between them. And while I had Spencer periodically just kind of looking at me to chuckle, Taylor was actively consoling me for a movie I've seen thousands of times. So she had to put up with, again, in this order. I just want to put this into context. Great cold open. Title card, Fallen Jedi. I start screaming immediately. And again, this episode was made for me. Incredible swordplay. Balin Skull fucking rules. The title is just my jam. Anakin Skywalker's in it. It's just boom, 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 boom hits for me. So this poor woman, this poor normal fucking person, just sitting next to me. We're just the title card. I'm like, oh my god, oh that's so fucking cool. And then the lightsaber duels start, and I'm like, I spent all three fights. I was that meme of Joe Rogan, on the sideline of that UFC fight. Yeah. I'm just
Yes.
yelling, and I found myself involuntarily giving color commentary during the lightsaber duels, where Ahsoka drew her lightsaber against Marok, and I went, "Ooh, okay, Shien reverse grip, let's go." And I hate myself for that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't realize that fell out of my fucking face, but I just got so amped the fuck up, and she put up with all of it. Me, hooting and hollering like it's a sporting event when the bad guy won. And then they pan over. It's the waves and Cetos, and then they
That
have that
transition
beautiful.
was so smooth.
I know someone cooked here. They transocean to Ahsoka, and at first I'm thinking, oh, like the water on Cetos is weird and mystical, because at first I'm like kind of like in Wonder Woman when Steve Trevor's in that little pool thing, how the water kind of illuminates around him. That's what I thought was happening. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I had that thought for a second, and I went, out loud, I went, "Oh my fucking god!" Like I
I
immediately,
did the
like
same thing.
I was, and I mean, like, "Oh my god!" Oh, and I just started yelling, and Taylor's like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "It's a War Between Worlds. It's a War Between." She hasn't seen Rebels yet. It's a War Between Worlds. It's a War Between Worlds. All she knows is it's a weird pocket dimension, and it's somehow why Ahsoka's. I'm like, "Oh my god!" And I'm freaking out, and I'm like, and I'm just again, like, I'm practically jumping up and down like an ape, and and I'm like, and in my mind, I'm like, oh, and I'm like mentally preparing myself for Anakin maybe showing up. And I went full Scotty J-Ro. Like I went nonverbal and started like gasping and crying. Like I was able to utter words at first, and then Anakin showed up, and I was just,
Shitting,
like,
pissing, farting. Like that
shitting,
was
pissing.
Yeah.
that was it. That was all I was
Yeah.
doing.
I lost my mind. I was so beside myself with excitement, and it just that moment hit so hard, and I
had subtitles on, and the minute that like Hello Snip showed up, I was like, oh no, they're gonna cook. They're gonna cook so hard here. And then like the minute that like just like the idea of like Anakin, like once again, one of my first thoughts at the beginning was like the idea that we're getting live action Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker interacting with live action Ahsoka is bonkers. But like the idea that like they're meeting in the world between worlds, and then like everything about that scene like works on every level for me, because like it's callbacks to the Clone Wars. It's like just it feels like Anakin, and then like at the end where the Vader theme plays, and you're like, wait a minute, this is gonna be bad. This is not good. Like you don't play the Vader theme if it's gonna be all good. So like
I have theories about next week. I don't want to get into them because I said this on Comic Book Cast. I accidentally saw something that could be that has the potential to be spoilery, and I don't want to publicly speak on what I think might be happening. I will talk about it next week, what I think might be at play. But it has everything to do with that Vader stinger.
Same.
That like, and it's such an amazing rug pull, because like we as the audience, like we are like we just got dealt such a big blow to the face, right? Like Ahsoka's defeated, she's hurt, all hell's breaking loose, all of the, Hera and Carson Teva nearly died, and we're just in this whirl. Sabine has been captured, we're all in this whirlwind, and and then you get this respite, you get this excitement of, oh my god, it's a world between worlds in live action, oh my goodness, and then you get that stinger of Anakin, and you're like, oh cool, it's Anakin, oh they're like meeting in live action for the first time, and then you get that rug pull of the Imperial March, and it's like, what did that mean, because like they get you to let your guard down for just a few moments for Darth Vader's theme to play, and now you're just scared again.
If I can quote my man Drewski, what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by what do you mean by that?
Like the J-Law gift too.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Fantastic, sensational. Does anybody have any other thoughts on the episode itself before we throw over to the Q&A here, gentlemen?
It's a banger.
I just want to say with Anakin, I think something that is hard for me as a Star Wars fan is watching the prequels with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith and thinking, okay, in between this time period, Anakin had a fucking Padawan. Like in between these two Hayden Christensen performances, he had a Padawan. She left the order and it broke him to a degree. And I like that we're getting stuff now with Hayden Christensen specifically that's making that feeling that did this really happen? Like, it's in animation. Of course it happened, but like I didn't feel that was the case in the performance. Now we have Hayden Christensen. He's back and we're getting him with Rosario. And I'm getting that feeling of, I don't know. It kind of feels weird.
Like
I don't know if he had a Padawan. Yeah, it's making it feel real because when George said, oh, Anakin had a Padawan, everyone's like, no, he didn't. And so with that live action stuff, it still sometimes feels like that. But I like that Hayden's back because hearing him I love Matt Lantern, but hearing him say Snips does something else for me. Not to diminish the Clone Wars at all, but him saying it, it's a different feeling because I've seen him so much in live action. I've seen, Hayden Christensen come back in Kenobi, and having him in this is just so tangible, and it makes me happy. So I'm excited for next week, and I love that this is kind of bridging that gap, like you said, Jared, between some of the live action and animation, because it's all Star Wars, and that's just kind of what I've been feeling.
It was always gonna feel a little weird when it happened, but I will say that if you, I don't think doing like a flashback to begin would have helped, but I think this was a good way to do it, and if I can end with one thing, I think I mentioned it when we first started. I've seen a lot of takes on the CGI de-aging, which if that's the one thing that you're gonna harp on, I feel like the Star Wars discourse right now is just it's exhausting to begin with, but if you're complaining about CGI and it's in order to see it, you have to really, really zoom in. I didn't have a problem with it, but
nor did I.
It's the story as a whole is great. If that's your one thing, then fine, have that. But can we enjoy things? It feels
Right.
like we're not we don't get to, because everyone's a critic, and I understand having real criticisms with this episode, but if you're gonna harp on that,
His face is very smooth. It is, but it's okay.
But he's a beautiful man.
fine.
Of course, Hayden Christensen's beautiful. What are you talking? He's always looked like that.
Yes.
Based by you, Billy.
Based by Bill, for sure.
Moving
Hashtag
in,
based by you, Bill.
hashtag based by you, Billy. Moving into our Q&A segment.
I'm gonna probably have to go now.
Okay. Well, Trey, before you leave, do your pluggables.
I have a movie podcast called Mile High Cinema. I haven't done it recently just because I moved. But yeah, and you can follow me on Twitter at Trey_Mitchell3. Thanks for inviting me. Enjoy talking this with you guys. Yeah.
Absolutely, buddy. Thank you for coming
Yeah.
by.
Great having
Having
Thanks
you
for
on.
hanging,
Of course.
Trey.
All right. I will
Love you,
see y'all
buddy.
later.
Be
Hey,
good.
dog.
Peace.
I also am gonna turn into a pumpkin
Oh, you're
momentarily.
leaving right. We only got 2 questions for the Q&A.
I'll answer one. I can answer one, and then I gotta
Wait,
go.
what kind of Q&A are we talking? Are these discussion questions or what?
Well, these are the
Kinda.
question and answer kind of Q&As.
That doesn't help at all. Give me an example. What's
Okay.
question number
From
one?
we got this guy named Alden Diaz.
Oh,
It-
get
um,
him out of here. I don't want to. No,
I know.
I don't want to
nobody
hear
wants
one
him.
more
He
noun or
said
verb from
he
him.
slaps your girlfriend with a Wookiee paw. Which Jedi who were not members of the council should have been? You cannot say Qui-Gon Jinn.
I've got two.
Wait,
okay.
what?
I've got two.
Which should have been?
Should have been in the
Jedi-
council.
Okay,
should-
okay.
Jedi who were not appointed to the council that you think should have been that are not named Qui-Gon Jinn.
Okay, there's a caveat to this. I think that you should have made Anakin a master if you were going to appoint him to the council, because I honestly think that if you had done that, Anakin trusts the council at that point. So make him a master, appoint him to the council. 2, Quinlan Voss. He's cool. He yes, he turned to the dark side eventually, but I think that
he turned back though. He did turn back.
He did turn back, and I think he's very similar to Qui-Gon in the way that he deals with the Force and how he deals with the world, with the galaxy. I just think he's a really, really cool Jedi, and I think the council doesn't need more stuffy Jedi who just sit in their chairs and just do nothing. I think you need Jedi like Quinlan, and I think you need Jedi like Anakin, and make Anakin a master, because they ain't no bitches is what I'm trying to say.
They ain't no
bitches.
Kaysen, do you have an answer? Because I have a very predictable answer.
I was kind of just trying to think of out of the ones that I know. I mean, now that I've seen him, and Kelleran Beck.
True.
Now you've seen
Oh,
Parker,
Kelleran's a
100%.
layup. I didn't even think of
Yeah.
Kelleran. That is such a layup.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Isla Secura too.
Ooh, wasn't she on the council?
She was not. She did not serve on the council. Everybody thinks she did because she was in Battlefront, but she did not serve on the council.
She served. She served something very, very different than the council.
She did serve.
She did serve.
Did serve.
I'm not going to say what this is. You know, can I say it? Do you want me?
Yeah. I mean, in the context, yeah.
She served cut. She really did. Like,
she did. She really did.
She did.
She really did. Spencer,
Anyway.
because you have no reference for that, that's a drag term. She was very pretty. I do have zero reference for that. Spencer, do you have a Jedi? Do you have a Jedi? Kason, you got such an MVP answer.
I don't know. I think that Syndrala kind of as a battle master deserves to at least be in the conversation.
I can get down with Sin,
but I can also understand him being like outside of the council as a swords master. I mean, besides Sin, I've been thinking ever since you mentioned the question, and I'm really glad that you mentioned me last because I had time to think about Sin. But like outside of Sin, I really don't know. I think other than someone like a Quinlan that at least represents a dissenting opinion or a new take on the Force, I think that there's a generally good representation of the Force, comparatively speaking. Like, you don't have a whole council of Luminara and Dualies by the time of Revenge of the Sith, but like you have some decent representation. It's not all great, but somebody like Sin who is a swords master.
Spencer taking a big old dookie on the fucking Revenge of the Sith council. Speaking of, there was a book announced today about the Phantom Menace era council that I cannot wait for.
The Will of the Force. It sounds
the Living Force.
The Living Force. It sounds fucking great.
It's all 12 members of the Phantom Menace Jedi Council. It takes place a year before Episode 1. it makes my heart so happy that for the first time since the Disney acquisition, there is a novel coming out that has a front page, a cover that is exclusively Glup Shadows and Mace Windu and Yoda.
Yariel Poof.
Yeah, he's there.
They're all there.
I gotta say it. Skywalker Saga Yariel Poof, the Lego game, is my favorite representation. He's like such a self-confident little jag. I love it. He's like, Jedi Master Yariel Poof has come to save the day. And I'm like, bro, nobody's heard of you except us.
You are the gluppiest of shittos, my guy.
he do be a poof for
he do be poofing. My answer for this, I got two. I have my less predictable answer. I think it's just because I'm going outside of the prequel era. Elzar Mann. To our knowledge, I mean, we're pre Phase 3 High Republic, so maybe by the end of that he does end up on the council, but I doubt it. So Elzar Mann, and in a similar vein with the Anakin and Quinlan and Elzar, in terms of having a dissenting voice, someone who's not always on the same page as the council. Obvious pick for me, fucking Dooku.
Yeah, dude.
He was on the council before he left the Order.
He was not. I believe he was offered a seat and declined it, and that was towards the end of his tenure. I only know that because when we did that Jedi Council versus tournament,
I
needed to fact check it with like 8 different people as to whether or not Dooku served on the council.
Yeah,
I
remember that.
It was a nightmare because it would have thrown the whole bracket off if we had Dooku in there, because little peek behind the curtain. Was it Aegon Kolar or Evan Peel that was like the alternate for Dooku? If we couldn't put him in there, it was one of them, and they got.
I want to say it was
nixed
Evan.
quick. I think you're right.
I want to say it was.
But that's our answers for that. And then our last question here from Frank Janish, friend of the show, one of the hosts over at Scoundrels Inc. What
I do
Jedi
believe Bill said he
pairing?
had to leave.
Huh? Oh, Bill, are you
Bill
bouncing?
said he had to leave.
I gotta bounce, man.
You gotta bounce?
I've gotta go. I've got to be up early tomorrow, but
Okay.
I love y'all very, very much. And
Do your
this was
pluggables?
a lot of fun. Absolutely.
Frank, we're saving this question for next week.
Okay. You guys can find me on Twitter at Star Wars Bill. If you're not following my podcast with my wonderful, wonderful dyad and co-host Trey Mitchell, who was also on the pod tonight, it's Skywalking Through the League at Skywalking TL. I love you guys. And as Bayou Bill said, "Are you down by the river?" And then you give me and you watch Ahsoka, and that'll be next week. Okay, you come in and say hi about Bill. Okay, bye bye.
Okay.
I love it so much.
whatever he just said. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah, we can just wrap this here, Frank. We're gonna do your question next week because it's a good question. It deserves its time in the sun. Kaysen, pluggables.
At Cray Breezy on Twitter and or Instagram. Yeah. I'm also here.
You were also here.
I'm also here at the Nerd Academy podcast.
What was that thing that we said when we were hanging out at Applebee's, you, me, Taylor, and Hannah? What did I say? What did one of us say about like, well, we are here and therefore not in that place or whatever?
Oh,
We said something very wildly liminal that kind of messed with my head for a minute. I
don't
Spencer,
remember.
do you have any pluggables?
You can find me in Technicolor in the 1938 hit film, The Adventures of Robin Hood.
We got a lovely show. Obviously, our friends have to dip out kind of as we go.
That-
We got a
that's
wonderful
all.
question
Yeah,
from
that's
Frank.
all.
Spencer
Mann at
Simpson and the
Scoundrels
Technicolor
Inc. will be
Dream
asked next week.
Yeah,
I loved
you
Frank's
wish you could see
question,
me
and
in
I didn't
many
want to give
colors.
it
Your brain would
a.
explode.
I
You can't
didn't want to
handle it.
rush through it.
I'm going to throw to
Um,
future me to
because I know
handle the
everybody
rest
had to
of
get
this
going.
nonsense, so
And our guest next
future
week,
me, take it
I think will also be fun to ask that question of stay bombad. But no, you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram and Threads at Dark Jedi 2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, and on our website www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon.
Give me $1.
Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Keandre Lloyd.
Colin Provolone. Sir.
So good.
Feel yourself, Colin. Feel yourself.
This is me stealing myself.
To Elix Jones.
All right, ladies and gentlemen.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
And to Ray Clausen, who asked that you donate to Equality Texas, where you can help protect queer kids in the Lone Star State. A little bit of housekeeping at the end here. My goal, as I said before, is to get the Versus series caught up by the end of the month, if not mostly caught up. My work schedule has been erratic, as I alluded to in the intro. I worked 15 hours today, so it's been a push and pull between me working when I could be recording and when I have time to record, kind of being dead tired. So the continued support of all of our patrons at every level, $1, $2, $5, $10, is immensely appreciated. And you guys help keep the lights on around here. And I would like for there to be more of you. I want more clips to play at the end of this show, so I can say your name and thank you for your help. But no, thank you guys for your patience with all of that. Heroic History 101 I want to get back on with. Again, it's just a matter of schedules aligning and calming down in the way that I would like them to. But that's pretty much all. Next week, one other thing next week. The call-in show after Ahsoka episode 5 might be slightly different. I don't want to say anything too concrete yet, but there is a non-zero chance next week's call-in show is a simulcast on a couple other YouTube channels that would be relevant to next week. So I'll let you do the math there. And stay tuned. Just tune in. It'll be on the channel. Whether or not anything's different, it'll be right here. Same time. Well, not the same time. We don't know what time, because it'll be whenever Ahsoka's over. But we'll be doing another live call-in show. I implore you to tune in and come check that out and unpack whatever the hell our thoughts are going to be about Ahsoka next week. I have no idea what to expect at this point. So buckle up for that. Stay tuned. Watch this space. Thank you all so very much for watching or listening. We are honored that you have joined us. And may the force be with you always.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar.
Going into space, mathematics, quantum mechanics, the secrets of the universe. It's all there. Life is fiery with its beauty. It's incredible detail. Tuning into it. They want to shatter your mind talking about Justin Bieber. It's pure evil.